Hey guys, what is up? So I did leave some timestamps below just in case you don't want to hear my thoughts about the movie while sitting on the couch before watching the movie. But yeah, with that being said, let's get right into the video. So my friend texted me and was like, my snacks are gonna be more entertaining than the actual movie. I was like, what? Okay, so there's three school of thoughts here. One, you have to think of the original movie, She's All That. Even though it's fair to compare because they're trying to make this like a sequel, I'm not going to, because right off the bat, you can see the cover. It's already have the emojis. You can tell it's gonna be like social media crap. You know, like you can tell they're really feeding into Addison Rae and bringing her fans into this, making sure that it stays like the top 10 on Netflix for the longest it can. You could really tell that off the bat, it's not even gonna be remotely similar to the original movie because they're trying to use her popularity with TikTok, right? It's clearly obvious. Now, the second school of thought here is, oh my gosh, well, who's Addison Rae? Does she deserve this platform? You know, it's like all the shadiness we're thinking before watching this. At least that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of she was a UFC correspondent and said that she prepared 3 months of broadcast journalism for this moment, and that ended up getting her fired. Remember that scandal? And then the third school of thought right here is I saw some bomb-ass movies on Netflix, like that Jason Mimosa... It's right here. I found it. It's this movie. And the fact that Addison Rae, the fact that this movie was #1 as opposed to this movie, you know, it's just like, it's kind of like a na to all the hardworking actors out there in these streets. So yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna start watching the movie. So the movie's about a high school senior named Paget Sawyer. She's an influencer and she's dating. Her boyfriend is also an influencer. His name is Jordan. And it starts off where, you know, Paget, she's surprising her boyfriend with some bakery items. And her friends Quinn and Alden, they film the whole thing. So they're on Jordan's music video set, surprising him. This whole thing is live. And they walk into his trailer only to find that Jordan is cheating on Paget with this other girl named Aniston. You know, and I think the whole joke here is that Jennifer Aniston and she's called Aniston. I don't know. I think that was a joke. But anyways, so Paget ends up throwing whatever bakery item she made at him and, you know, she's upset. So the next day hits and she sees that it's all over social media, how ugly she looked that day throwing stuff at Jordan for cheating on her. You know, she's miserable, but then decides to go to school later on, right? So she goes to school. She's sitting in the cafeteria with her friends Alden and Quinn. Paget mentions how if it wasn't for Jordan, he wouldn't be popular. She made Jordan popular. And that's when her friends suggest, well, why don't you just make another Jordan? Make a prom king. So then they start to choose like the dorkiest person at school. And I want to mention, because everything was captured on social media, Paget was embarrassed. She lost her sponsorship. Paget thinks that if she creates a prom king and she wins prom queen, she'll get her followers back and she'll get her sponsorship back. And by the way, the person who plays her sponsor is Kourtney Kardashian. So anyways, her friends go around the school picking like the dorkiest kid ever, and they come across the kid Cameron. And so now the game is on because Paget has now made a bet with her friends that, hey, I'm gonna make this dork into a prom king. So she approaches him and tries to get him to help out with the school car wash fundraiser for the prom. He rejects her. Paget then starts talking to Cameron's sister Bryn, who mentions to Paget that he loves photography and that he also works like at a horse barn. So then the very next day, Paget shows up bright and early at the barn where Cameron works. Paget offers to help him out, and she ends up helping Cameron scoop up some horse poop into a bucket. They have a nice bonding moment. She then asks for like a horse lesson, and so he teaches her to get on and off of the horse. When she gets off of the horse, she ends up falling into horse poop, which and then she playfully throws some horse poop at him, and they laugh. after this bonding moment, and mind you guys, this is all before school starts for them, so they have to go to school after this. So I'm thinking, remember Cinderella's story? I never got these movies that are like, oh my gosh, I have to go to work and serve, be a waitress before school, or I have a job before school. Say what? You're in high school. What job do you have before that? Anyways, moving on. So then they get to school, and Paget invites Cameron and his friend Nisha to go to this karaoke party. They're at the karaoke party, and Paget gets on stage and she starts singing, but then freezes up when she sees Jordan walking in with the girl that he cheated on her with, which was Aniston. She freezes up. Cameron gets on the stage and he helps her finish the song, and then after that, Paget's like, it's my cue to leave when she sees Jordan gets on stage with Aniston, and then they're doing the whole karaoke thing, and Cameron's like, do you need a ride? And so they give her a ride home, and it's revealed here that when they drop Paget off at the place Paget says that she lives at, it's very apparent, or you can kind of get the sense that she does not live there. And before Paget gets out of the vehicle, she leaves what looks like a silky glasses case. I don't even know what the hell she leaves, but she leaves something in Cameron's car. And we all know that's so she can call him back later and be like, hey, I forgot something. So Paget ends up calling up Bryn, Cameron's sister, and says, hey, I forgot something. Can I stop by? She ends up being like right outside of the door. When Paget visits their home, we now know a little bit more about Cameron and Bryn, that they have basically a shitty dad who lives in Sweden, who sends them like a big box of gifts once a year, and that they live with their grandma. While at the house, Paget asks Cameron for a horsing lesson, and they have another bonding moment. It's pretty cute. Paget discusses with Cameron how she lost her sponsorship, so now she may not have the money to pay to go to college. And this is the part where Cameron opens up to Paget and mentions that after high school, he wants to travel the world and take pictures of everything. And then the bonding moment doesn't end here. He takes her to Union Station, train station, where he loves taking pictures. And here Cameron really opens up to Paget and shares with her that yes, his dad is in Sweden, but we learn more about his mom. His mom died in a car crash with her boyfriend who was flying the plane. I thought that was interesting because before they made it seem like the dad was just like living in Sweden, and I was like, okay. I mean, he's still a shitty dad in my opinion, but now we know that his parents were divorced and his mom died from a car crash, which is sad. Here, at this point in the story, you can kind of get the sense that now Paget is regretting this bet in a way. She's really connecting with him on an emotional level, really getting to know him. At this point in the movie, Paget also apologizes to Cameron and mentions, I'm sorry that people treat you like shit at school. In this scene, Paget also opens up to Cameron as well. Her mom is a nurse and how her dad now lives in Florida with his new family. So after this moment, Paget then invites Cameron to a themed party by Alden, which is the person who suggested this whole bet to begin with. So it's like a themed The Great Gatsby, the 20s party. So they have this cute montage of them going into the store and they're trying on all these clothes. But this is also the moment to where he went from being like the dorky kid in school to now this cute, like slow motion walking into the kitchen, haircut, you know, really like handsome dude, right? So now we hit the party and a few things happen at this party. So for starters, the girl that Jordan cheated on Paget with broke up with him. So then Jordan tries to get back with Paget. And it doesn't work. Paget's just like, no, like you cheated on me. No, I'm not gonna get back with you. And it's so funny because this show is all about making fun of social media as well. Because Jordan's like, if we get back together, we can win prom king and queen. And then our followers will go up. Our following will go up. And I'm like, really? Really? Another thing that happens at this party is that Quinn, who is Paget's friend, and Nisha, who is Cameron's friend, you can tell there's like a love interest there. So I really liked that. Another thing that happens is after Jordan gets rejected by Paget, Cameron's sister Bryn ends up introducing herself to Jordan. They end up kissing, but I guess Jordan was going way too far with it. Bryn didn't like that. She ends up telling her brother. It becomes this huge like scene at the party near the pool. And then you have Cameron and Jordan fighting. Cameron beats Jordan's ass and Jordan ends up throwing Cameron's vintage sentimental camera into the pool. Mind you, this was his mom's camera. Cameron gets mad and takes his frustration and anger out on Paget, and he even questions like, why did you even start talking to me? He ends up leaving. Alden sees that Paget and Cameron's relationship, that it's more than just a bet now. And you can kind of get the sense that she's hateful towards this. And she's also upset too because Cameron ruined her party. And this is where you also start to see her mean streak, because then when the party's over, she's now making out with Jordan. So then it becomes official the next day at school. Alden and Jordan are a thing, and then it's revealed like at that moment that Alden was a snake the whole time, that she could have stopped that live of Jordan cheating on Paget with Aniston. At this point in the movie, we now know that Alden wanted to run for prom queen against Paget, and that Alden was actually a little sneaky hater the whole time. So she could have stopped that live, but chose not to because she was secretly a troll. And then it's also revealed to us that Quinn and Alden knew that Paget lied about where she lived, how she's poor, how she doesn't have any money, blah, blah, blah. Cameron also apologizes for his behavior, how he acted at the party, to Paget as well. Cameron begins to open up to Paget even more and shows her his dark room. They have another bonding moment and then they kiss. Paget feels guilty because Cameron shares with her that the reason why he feels comfortable showing Paget his dark room is because he trusts her. And she's like, oh crap, you know, this all started with a bet and now she wants to tell him, but she can't. She feels guilty, so she awkwardly leaves. Then this brings us to Cameron. He's just like, okay, I think I need some advice from my sister Bryn, you know? And Bryn suggests that Cameron promposes to her. So Cameron then brings Paget some roses and this cute little photo to the school's car wash fundraiser for the prom. And Alden ruins the moment by mentioning the bet while he's proposing to her. So Paget feels bad. She feels like shit. She calls Cameron, apologizes plenty of times, but only gets its voicemail. So then Paget gets a pep talk from her mom, who played Lanny, who was the lead in the original She's All That. And after this, Paget decides to call up Bryn and be like, you know, I'm so sorry, but I want your brother to come to prom. I apologize. Then Bryn goes to the barn where Cameron works. She has this emotional moment because she witnessed Cameron for the first time being really happy with Paget. Bryn says that she hasn't seen her brother happy since their mom passed away. And so they have like this cute emotional moment, and some may say it's cringy, but I thought it was cute. Well, equally actually. We'll get into what I didn't like about the video, but anyways, so it's prom, everyone's at prom, and long story short, they have this dance. Okay, they have this dance off, okay? And I will say that this dance off came out of nowhere. Like, this wasn't Grease. You walk together like boom, boom. Like, this was not Grease, okay? Out of nowhere, it was like the movie paused and they were like, Addison Rae is the lead, so now we are going to please the people who watch her TikToks. And they just paused the movie to do this dance off thing, which was, I just felt like it was just out of place. I get what they were trying to go for, but they just failed at it, in my opinion. Anyway, so after this dance off, the prom king is Jordan and the prom queen is Paget. Paget gets up on stage and gives us a speech how social media is fake and how she always tried to be perfect when, you know, it's better to just really be yourself. That was the moral of the speech. She gives back her crown, and the tone in all of this is coming from her guilt from lying to Cameron. She feels awful about the whole thing. After leaving the stage, she leaves prom because she just feels so horrible for lying to Cameron. As she leaves prom, Cameron comes riding in on a horse. I mean, listen, this was somewhat cringy, but also it was cute. If you can't tell, I'm definitely a romantic movie type. I mean, no matter how cringy it is, like, come on, I've seen Hallmark movies cringier. But anyways, moving on. So he comes in riding on a horse. His sister obviously had a lot to do with why he was there. Before they have the lovey-dovey moment, Cameron goes, "You never really lost me." Before they have the lovey-dovey moment, Cameron goes, "You never really lost me." And then they kiss, make up. The movie ends with, you know, "Kiss me, na 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 na." I'm not getting a career in singing anytime soon, but you know the song I'm talking about. The movie ends with, you know, they've already graduated high school. It's summertime and she's traveling. Paget's traveling with Cameron across the world. They're in like Portugal or whatever, and they're I don't know, social media-ing it up. And she's like doing a live saying, "Hi guys, I'm with Cameron doing this and that." And, you know, they live happily ever after. So that was the movie. Oh, and then of course, my favorite part of the movie, no shade, the guy, the principal who was in the original movie, he came out doing a little dance at the prom. So I loved how they had the mom who was in the original, Laney, who was the lead, Laney, who was the lead. And I loved how they had the guy, I forgot his name in the original movie, but now he's the principal, and I thought that was cute. Now that I told you everything, let's get into what I did not like about the movie before I defend Addison Rae. What I did not like about the movie is that this movie put in so much effort into pleasing their sponsorships. Old Navy, Doritos, suntan chips, whatever the heck it's called, the Smart Food popcorn, Skittles, all these beauty products. Like, I mean, it just goes on with the amount of sponsorships this movie was trying to please. They put so much effort into this than I felt like they did in the storyline itself. Let me explain. So with the storyline, what they failed to do was to build a relationship with the characters. Everything was just like, act your scene, say these words. Like, where was the goddamn chemistry? There wasn't any. It just felt so unrealistic. So there was a scene when Paget decides that the dork that she's going to make over is Cameron, and after she's done talking to Bryn and finds out that he works at this horse barn and she shows up, I thought it was way too easy. I thought it was too easy that she shows up at his job early in the morning before school starts to say, "Hey, I want to help out," just because. I thought she should have gotten rejected, gone home and be like, "Okay, this is not going to be easy. How can I really get into Cameron's life?" I wanted it to be challenging for her, and it wasn't. It was so simple. Cameron's just like, "Yeah, okay, help me scoop up poop." You know, I didn't like that. It felt not real. It felt fake. It felt not genuine. Another thing that felt not genuine is the kid who played Cameron, Tanner Buchanan. You mean to tell me they couldn't make him look a little bit more uglier? You know what I mean? We already knew this was a predictable movie, so we knew that he was going to turn into this handsome fellow, right? All they had was like a hat on him and long hair. That was it. Why were they not creative enough into making him look uglier? So that way, when the big reveal came and he's supposed to be this cute, like, hot shot, it could really show, you know? Like, people didn't have a vision of what he could look like with a haircut and his hair back, you know? That's what I mean by it just wasn't genuine. Now let's get to the casting. If you're going to choose Addison Rae with little to no acting experience, then you really need to choose people Addison Rae has chemistry with. I mean, I'm sorry, if you're going to choose a movie with someone who doesn't have that much acting experience whatsoever, then you really, and you're leaning on this person with the huge following, then you need to make sure that she has chemistry with these people, because the casting was not right. But even the script wasn't right. Like the script was horrible to me. I felt like I said, they were just trying to please the sponsorships. You know, they didn't really care much about this movie, in my opinion, because they knew it was just going to get a lot of views because it had Addison Rae in there. So let me jump into why I'm defending Addison Rae. Are there other actors out here in these streets that work their asses off for a role like this, and Addison Rae got it just like that? Of course, absolutely, hell to the freaking yes. But I ask you this, if you were Addison Rae, are you gonna say no? Are you going to say no to a Netflix original movie where you are the lead role? I wouldn't. So I understand people's frustrations, but that's not Addison's fault. She got offered the role and she said yes. She's doing her thing. You know what I mean? Is it right? Get mad at Netflix. Get mad at Netflix. I just don't think it's right for people to hate on her because she's getting these options. Get mad at the people who are giving her the options then, you know? Because if I'm her, I'm like, what? Yeah, I want a sequel. Yeah, like, you know? And another reason why I'm defending Addison Rae in this movie is because when I watched other reviews of what people didn't like, oh my gosh, playing with poop. I saw a thumbnail, playing with poop, and, you know, the storyline, it was like, she did this, it was cringe, blah, blah, blah. Like, or I even saw a complaint about, oh, she wasn't really passing out flyers. She was just passing out empty flyers. Okay, that's not really Addison's fault. Like, people, a lot of their complaints are about the storyline and what she did and how she did it, and she was passing out empty papers. It's like, okay, that was not necessarily her fault. Her fault is to know her lines and to act well. Now, is she going to win an Oscar from this movie? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay? But do I think she was the most horrible person ever? No. And you know what? I believe if this was a Disney movie, no one would be saying shit. Let's just put it that way. If this was Disney, no one's going to talk about her acting. You know, if this was a Disney movie, if anything, that dance off, people would be like, oh my gosh, are we going to get how-to videos? Is Disney going to, you know, put out another video where we can learn how to do the dances? If this was on Disney. So I think it's also where this movie was, where people are really criticizing her acting. People are really criticizing her. I just don't think it's fair. You know, you can't get mad at her for getting these options. Get mad at the people who are giving it to her. So I give this movie an overall 4 out of 10. The reason why I give this movie a 4 out of 10 is because the script absolutely sucked. It just sucked. Everything about the script was horrible, and there was no relationship building. Everything was forced. There was no chemistry. I felt like they could have built the characters better. I wanted to see more relationships with the characters, and I felt like the movie failed to do that. I felt like with the amount of money the sponsors paid for this movie, they could have made it a little bit longer to build some type of relationships so we could feel for these characters more. The script sucked, but it was a cute movie. It was kind of like your Hallmark movie, your Disney movie, and I went in knowing that this is going to be targeted towards kids, okay? So yeah, it's a 4 out of 10 for me. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys.